Welcome to Anecdotes for Success with Matt and Paul. Storytelling is an art form, emphasizing the value and learning that is created through personal experience. Our purpose is to share these stories and experiences with the listener. Everyone has a powerful testimony. Let's use them to level up to our best life with truth, meaning, trade-offs, and perspective.
Staying consistent, Matt. We're back a week later, like we promised.
Yeah, and like it's like there's a little hop in my step doing it more, you know? It's
Yeah.
it's it's like anything you care about, right?
Well, softball's over, so it's a little easier.
Yes, a little bit earlier than you'd hope, but what a run for you guys, huh? You must be very proud of the team.
Yeah, you lose in the finals. And, it was kind of cool because Sean McDermott was at our game. His daughter plays for the other team, the Bills coach.
Oh, no
So
kidding.
it's funny how closely related like your worlds could be to people that you just never meet or see on TV only. And it's
Yeah.
it's I didn't meet him. A lot of people did and seemed like a nice guy. I mean, I was busy, but uh it's pretty cool. Like you're not that far away from people that you think you're that far away from sometimes.
Interesting point. You're right. And here's a guy who, you know, at the pinnacle of pinnacle. What percentage of people would want to be NFL coaches, right?
Right.
A giant. How many people get to a fraction of it, and yet he's just like you and me and everyone else in virtually every other way, right? Other than his job is televised and highly paid, but also highly scrutinized.
You don't know how bad. I mean, he didn't bother me because I was busy coaching, right? Just
Right.
like I wouldn't bother him. But I'd love to pick his brain about work-life balance, and I think I know the answer to it, that there really is no such thing.
I was gonna
You
say
just
the
make
same
it
thing.
work,
He'd
right?
go during the season or during I don't, there is no balance. Like,
Yeah.
you don't get here trading, hey, if we have a so-so season, that's all right. I need to need to make sure I help do the dishes. At home. It probably doesn't work like that, right? But um but at the same time, you know, very they're very still human and all the human problems, right? None of us get away from those.
Yeah, and since COVID, we've been doing this, what, since then, or roughly.
Yeah.
Uh, I think of all the changes I've made. I think of all the growth you've had. Like, why can't you just pursue what you want to pursue? I think so many people put limits on what they think they can achieve. They definitely think they age out of things they could be achieving.
Yeah.
And so my question for you today is, well, it's the same reason I coach softball for hardly any pay as a high school coach, right? Somebody is like, oh, if you guys would have won that state championship game, would you have stopped? I'm like, no, like that would be a nice little piece of hardware to have, but that's not what I'm trying to build.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
fun's in the journey. So I want to ask you what comes to mind when you think of pursuit of happiness.
Good question. It's so funny. You know what the first thing that popped in my head is?
What?
Sacrifice and
Yeah.
and pain. Because that pursuit of happiness, which we've talked about before, what even is that? Um, because that's it's not a destination like you were just saying. It is truly in the journey, and that pursuit. It's consistency. It's the sacrifice and the pain, and the joy that goes in doing something worthwhile to you. I'm thinking obviously off the cuff here, because it's a wonderful question. Like what that pursuit must be something that you value, right? Otherwise, why pursue it, right?
Yeah.
So if it's something that you value, number one, it's likely uneasy to attain, right? If anything is easy, the value is just not in it. Certainly not long term. It doesn't exist long term. And if I'm talking happiness, happiness to me is a mindset. It's long term. It's a value system. It's a way of looking at the world. Excuse me. it's being grounded in something that matters. And all those things require effort and sacrifice and consistency. And those equate to a level of pain that comes in that journey. You know, I, I, I've got a young daughter, and that I look at every day and go, what do I want to see her life look like? And that's a long-term thing. That to me would be happiness to see her grow into that, have the opportunities, and become the kind of human her mother and I think that she's capable of becoming. Well, that's not good. That doesn't happen, Paul, just giving her everything she wants, right? It doesn't happen saying yes to everything. It doesn't happen creating safe spaces for everything. There's a lot of pain in that. There's a lot of time in that. There's a lot of effort in that. But there's a level of consistency and value again, like a value structure, something that's permanent, something that not that it can't your values can't adjust and change because they can, but something that you believe in. Paul, I would imagine on your journey with your team, there were certain non-negotiable values within your team. I don't know what they are, but I would imagine it's you're going to be a practice. You're going to be a good teammate, whatever it might be. Like you have to have those kinds of things. Defining those and living by those probably aren't always easy. And so that's what I think about.
You know what? I'll get to those in 1 second. It actually is kind of easy if you make them non-negotiable. You
Mm,
know what I'm saying? But the sacrifice and the pain that you keep talking about, to me, that's the perspective we always add. How do you know what happiness is if you never experience the lack of happiness or the sacrifice or the pain? Nobody goes to the gym
mhm.
and feels bad after their workout, right?
Yes. Yes.
Nobody runs, feels bad after. Nobody feels bad, you know, after you do something tough. But I think that the downside comes if you don't succeed, you can't think of it as you didn't succeed. You have to think of it as it's just continuing to build that foundation. And you have to almost get a little bit of a high off of the pain and the sacrifice, because then you know what true happiness is. You can't be happy all the time. We've talked about that. It's impossible.
It's impossible. It's
But
impossible
you can pursue happiness all the time.
all the time. Sure. Yeah. And that's where I get frustrated with, you know, uh, I know statistically, there's a lot of kids out there who are, on meds or have mental health and those kinds of things. And those are serious things that we need to be aware of and need to be dealt with. But I think one of the things that we've done as a society is we've done that to them unintentionally, of course, but we've done it to them with this idea that you should always be happy. And I'd like to change the conversation, like more to this, where pursue happiness, pursue the joy, pursue the things that you value. But boys, are going to be a lot of pain in that, and a lot of sacrifice, and a lot of discomfort. And those things. The crazy part, Paul, is when let's say you've reached that goal, man, do you miss that pursuit of it, right? Man, do you miss those times and practicing in the 38 degrees and rain and and whatever, or the games you thought you should have won but you lost, and on and on and on. Those are those are the memories we miss and think about. It's funny what that journey looks like in the rearview mirror. It's full of a lot of tough memories, and in a weird way, in so many ways are the most, you know, profound and the best ones.
Yeah, and I just want to touch base again with the non-negotiables of the
Yeah.
season and rules. For the first time ever, I didn't have a lot of rules with the team. We used the four agreements. I don't know if you've ever read that book. There's
No, but
four
I think
agreements.
yeah. Tell me, tell
Yeah,
me.
there's four agreements you can make with yourself that help lead to growth and discipline and a better life. You always have to be impeccable with your word. You always have to tell the truth. You always have to be honest with yourself and others. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, don't take things personally. Most people don't make decisions thinking about you. They're making decisions based on.
Agreed.
And again, as a coach, I'm not doing anything personally to you. I'm doing something for the betterment of the team.
Yeah.
So if you have a player complaining about something, that's how the conversation starts. Like, why do you think it's personal? And then they realize it isn't. Not saying it goes over smoothly. And then you never assume things. You have to ask people when you think something's wrong. Never assume things. And then of course the fourth one's always try your best.
Yeah, interesting. I vaguely remember you bringing this up before, and that's a book, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's such an easy book. Like the book's
What's
a
it
great
called?
read, The Four Agreements.
Okay, I just want to
So
write it down.
so
I want to get
it's
it.
such a great book that you almost don't need it though. I've listened to the Audible book because you can go online and find posters for the Four Agreements and then it explains what each one is. But I don't think I'll ever stop using that as the basis for team rules. Because if you're late for practice 2 days in a row and then you don't start, I'm like, well, what rule did you break? Well, I didn't always try my best. Like
Right.
I
You
wasn't
right.
there.
Right. Moving on. We don't need to discuss it. Right. It's not like you
Yeah.
said. It's not personal. These were the four agreements, and you broke one. So there's nothing else to say.
And when the important thing is when you're trying your best, it doesn't mean you're giving 100%. That's impossible all the time, but you're giving 100% of what you can give that day. Like maybe you do have a stomach ache or a cold, or maybe something else is bothering you, right? And so based on the stresses of life or anxiety of an exam later, maybe 80% is the best you can give, but I need 100% of that 80%, and myself included.
Yeah. Well, for sure. To think that we're all giving 100% all the time is obviously silly.
And the funniest thing when we talk about pursuit of happiness, the thing I tell the team, and they've used this on me, I don't know if I've told you this. If you're grumpy or mad or struggling, you might need a minute. And instead of whining, if another player on the team looks at you and says, "Do you need a minute?" That's code for snap out of what you're pouting about
Ah.
and come help the team. Well, earlier in the year, I was arguing to the ump about a call, and at the end of the inning, our one player goes, "Coach, I think you need a minute right now." And I'm like, "Damn, you're right."
Yeah.
Like
Put you in the right headspace. Right.
how powerful is that that a
Yeah.
high school softball player can look at an older coach and say, "You need a minute."
Yeah. Yeah.
And off I went to the dugout, and I was so mad at her for being like in a funny way. I'm like, "You got me." It happened to me about 4 times this year, but if you're using those four agreements, let's face it, you're all pursuing a goal when you're on a team. It could be a
Right.
business team. I mean, it
Yeah.
could be
Right.
yourself.
Team's a team. Yeah. Yeah.
But we have to realize it's not always going to be fun and rainbows and sunshine. So what are your checks in place where you can help people get back on the tracks when you take the wrong exit or when you get derailed a little?
I
And
I
my
love it.
proudest moment of this year in my third year doing this is all that. Like, would winning states be great? Well, we were a state finalist. Like, the other team tries too.
Yeah.
It, it,
Right.
it doesn't mean I'm going to throw out everything culturally we've been working on.
Right. Right. Right.
So,
Yeah.
so that's pretty cool. Like, if you owned a franchise that was second in the nation or second in the state, you'd still be successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to divorce yourself from the results because the wins get in the way if you do things the right way, and that's what I'm bringing it all back to pursuit of happiness. That's what makes me happy.
Yeah.
Reflecting in gratitude after it still stings after the sting wears away and all that,
Right. Of course
like
it does.
all that stuff. So yeah, I think Matt, a lot of people don't pursue anything.
Oh, fair enough, right, Paul? I mean, when you first asked the question, I was thinking about it, and one of the things that ran through my mind is, wonder how many people have ever even asked themselves this question. Very, very few, right? And why do why is that? Why do you think that is?
Well, I think you get distracted by all the other stuff you can have in life that we talk about all the time. Not to get into assets liabilities, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
consumerism and how easy and comfortable you can be without really trying to do anything. Maybe you're living through others' pursuits, whether it's movies or
Mm.
documentaries or sports
Or,
teams.
yeah, or right, or your children. I mean, you see, not you, but people see a lot of that. I see a lot of people trying to live through their children's pursuits
Yes.
and pushing them down paths that they probably wouldn't have gone otherwise. Um, no, I don't know the answer. Of course, it depends, but yeah,
If you get more mad about your sports team you root for losing than your own endeavors, I think that's like a red flag.
yeah, yeah, it's a sign. It's a very,
And,
very,
and it could be, listen, I personally, Pursuit of Happiness, it has to be all tied into my career and what I do. That's just me personally. Other people can just go to a job, come back. Now maybe pursuing happiness to them is hitting all 49 peaks in New York State or the
yeah,
Adirondacks or whatever.
right, right.
So you might be able to compartmentalize that. I can't personally. That's why work-life balance to me, it's just all one thing blended in that you it's a sliding scale with trade-offs all the time. And
Huh,
I know
well
that's
said.
how you feel. So
Oh,
so
100%.
but to not have anything you work towards, if you like working because on the weekends you pursue things that make you happy, okay. But what do you pursue? I think everybody should make a list. I call it, I mean, you could call it a bucket list. I
Yeah,
don't care.
you could call it goals, you could call it,
Yeah.
a number of things, but at the end of the day, you're right. What are you pursuing here? And the num the number of people the number of people I know who, if I ask that question to, they wouldn't have any idea how to even answer it because they haven't pursued anything of real value. And I don't mean monetarily, I just mean for them
Right.
in so long that it's so foreign to them the vast majority of people, and that's a wasted life in many ways.
And it has nothing to do with money. The
Nothing.
money obviously can be a byproduct that involves freedom,
Yeah, yeah.
time freedom.
If that's what you're valuing, right, right. But like you said, there's a million. I like your example of the. Are there 49 peaks in New York State?
I think because I've
Is that
heard the
right?
term
I never knew
49.
that.
Somebody can fact check it.
I think I've been to one,
Yeah,
but
or I know somebody that's trying to go to every MLB ballpark.
yeah, yeah. I've heard.
That's fun.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like you said, I mean, you've got to have something to go after. And arbit I don't know if arbitrary is the right word, but things like, because I can hear this. Well, my goal is retirement. It's like, no, that doesn't count. That just means you have to. It just means you have to keep breathing in most cases. Like, and keeping breathing is important too. Don't get me wrong. But there's there's no there's no pursuit in that. That is just following. You could do that as a zombie. Yeah, the pursuit has to be something that you have to put effort into. You have to be creative. You have to make some sacrifices. You have to do things you wouldn't normally have done. In my opinion, I spent an hour and 15 minutes on the phone yesterday with a 20-year-old kid, talking about he wants to be an entrepreneur and he wanted some advice, and and he's in college. He's doing a full internship with this bank out of Boston, this very successful corporation. And I was saying you got to make because he had an idea and we were talking through, and I happened to have built a business in that particular area that I ended up selling. But like I've been through it. I know a lot about it. We talked and talked and talked, and he's like, okay, so I work Monday through Friday. I'm done by 5, so I could be working, from 5 to probably 9 in most cases. Then I have all weekends. He's not going, well, I already work 40 hours a week. How can I do it? He's going, when else can I build this business? And I don't have to do it. I'm going to finish my degree, I think, but I'm going to have all this other free time. And I can do my website at night, and I can do my marketing, create flyers and stuff at night. But during the days when I'm not working, on the weekends, I can do the jobs. And I'm like, you're so far ahead
Yeah.
of almost anyone else I speak to. It didn't even occur to him that he's only supposed to work a certain amount of hours. And because he was already doing an internship, a 40-hour week internship, Paul. This isn't part time. He's just thinking, okay, when am I going to have time to pursue my dream, to pursue what he is defining right now is happiness. And I just told him at the end, I go, I know you're unsure and you have questions, and you should. That's very normal. It's very responsible. But at 20 years old, you are so far ahead of 98% of people I've ever met in my life. I can't even tell you. Um, And it was just inspiring for me to hear a young person talking like this and speaking like this. And I have no doubt that kid's gonna see that young man's gonna see some serious um, um, returns on his attitude.
Well, and that's good. That's awareness and that's taking action.
Yes.
One of my favorite YouTube videos, I forget the guy, that everybody has dreams and pursuits when they're young. Kids, ask any kid when they're 8, 9, 10 years old what they want to do, and they've
Yeah.
got a trillion things.
Yeah.
But the trick is, a lot of this stuff doesn't have end time to it. Like, when a test comes, when how old you can be to get your driver's license, or when you have to go to work. But for most of your pursuits, there's no timeline attached to it. So it's easy to keep kicking it down the road. Someday, someday. Anything you tell yourself someday to, you should put an artificial timeline and hold yourself accountable. Doesn't mean you'll even get there. But if you don't take action, the someday becomes never.
That's a
That's why
great.
people do bucket lists. It's the same thing. Oh,
It,
I
it,
want to go to Europe someday. Well, when someday? When
right.
you're 60 and too old to explore Europe, like when you're 40?
Right. Yeah. He and I got in that very topic
Good,
yesterday. Very,
good.
very same thing.
I just, the pursuit of happiness, I think about that constantly every morning. Like, and what I doing, am what I, is what I am doing, making me happy in the sense of am I pursuing something meaningful?
Burns,
Yeah.
perfectly said.
And
Perfectly said.
there's a thing or two I'm gonna give up soon. Uh, to continue pursuing other things that mean more to me. And you have to keep checking yourself. I heard thing today by James Clear on a podcast, the Atomic Habits guy.
Yeah. Yep.
Every time you say no, you're freeing yourself.
Mm,
Every time you say yes to somebody, you're enslaving yourself.
yes. I've
And
heard that. That's a hard thing. It's a
yeah,
hard thing to
and he
do for
goes
me
on to
personally.
he goes on to say you hesitate less giving, like, you'll think harder about giving somebody $20 than you will about 20 minutes of your time. You can make 20 more dollars. You can't get the 20 minutes of your time
Yeah.
back.
That's a very, very good point. Very good
So
point.
again, all all is fixated on pursuit. I mean, giving someone your time, I don't think 10, 20 minutes is bad if it potentially brings another connection or pursuit. Uh, but you have to think about it a lot, or you just start wandering, and you might as well be like the ocean seaweed in the ocean, just bobbling back and forth, or a jellyfish or whatever. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you have to think about it a lot and have plans, because maybe I'm sacrificing something short term, giving up time, space, maybe even family time, because it's going to free up more later. So yeah, it's like a Rubik's cube. I can't begin to tell you what the right way to do it is, but you have to take action. So, any
Yeah.
closing
No.
thoughts?
No, I love the topic because most of us, many of us, fortunately, I'm not like this at this point in my life, but I'm sure I know there were times when I was. I know better now, I'd like to think, where I just got up and went, right? I'm just marching through the day. I wasn't pursuing anything. Um, and certainly, not anything of true value. And that getting up with that mindset to pursue something meaningful, like you said, which is perfectly said. If you're doing that day in and day out, you cannot lose. It's, not every day is going to be great. Not every day is gonna you're gonna hit your mark and think, "Whoa, I really took some major steps towards that today." Some days are just going to be caught in the mud, struggles. There's a song, I forget what it is. I forget, but it's basically, some days you're just trying to get by. Some days you're just trying to survive. I listen to that song. It's on a playlist of mine, and I go, boy, is that true. Someday you're just fighting battles to keep your head above water, but not every day. Some days you really make some inroads, and if you're not pursuing that something meaningful consciously, day in and day out, you're directionless. You're never gonna get anywhere that you really truly want to be.
I'll end with, I saw a funny graphic somebody put on Facebook yesterday, that an entrepreneur is the type of person that jumps off a cliff and figures out how to build the airplane on the way down.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's that's how unsure it is.
yeah, yeah. You're in it. You're committed. You better figure it out, or you're gonna crash. And the good news is, if you do crash, you do get to dust yourself off
Yes.
and go again. It's not the end of the world. Um, but there's also a seriousness to it, right? And a
Right.
commitment to it that is different than, I don't feel great today and maybe I'll be here at my job, but I really won't be doing anything.
Right.
Um, when it's your own thing, you definitely look at it differently.
Keep pursuing, Matt.
You too.
All right, I'll talk to
Yeah.
you soon.
All right. See ya.